Welcome to the Talkin Chop podcast, brought to you by the folks over at Chief of Staff KC. I'm Emerson Hodis. This is Lucas Berry and Bryce Shepard. Lucas and Bryce, great to have you guys back this year to run it back. If you saw our Chiefs of Staff LinkedIn videos last season, we brought you a recap and a preview of each game throughout the Chiefs' historic Super Bowl run. We're taking it up a notch this year with a podcast brought to you by our boys at Let It Fly Media. Awesome studio, ready for an awesome season as well. So starting next week, we're going to be interviewing, and throughout the season, we're going to be interviewing some of Kansas City's top executives and personalities to talk a little bit of shop, but talk a whole lot more chop. So very excited about some of the guests we have coming down the line. But this week, we're just going to kind of set things up, talk about a recap of a truly remarkable offseason, after obviously a historic Super Bowl run. We got contract extensions, new draft picks, a global pandemic that's going to shape the whole season. So we'll kind of touch on all that, as well as our record projections, some season predictions, and some of our favorite prop bets as well. But first, we're going to bring you our positions of the week presented by Chief of Staff KC, your local trusted talent scouts. We're a recruiting firm based in Brookside, right around the corner from the Let It Fly boys. And, we'll find you the best accounting and finance, HR, operations, sales, and admin talent Kansas City has to offer. So if you're in the market for a new hire at the moment, if you're in the market for a new job at the moment, reach out to us at Chief of Staff KC and we'll take care of you. Lucas, how are you feeling about this year, and what is your position of the week?
Good, man. Doing great. Feeling excited about this year. Really excited to run this podcast and run it back as well. Thanks, Let It Fly guys, for hosting us. Without further ado, position of the week. So I have an exciting accounting manager with a company based in downtown Kansas City. Need about 3 to 5 years of experience, CPA preferred. And international experience is a massive plus. Competitive salary, great benefits, overall phenomenal company culture. Please give me a shout. We're looking to hire some accounting managers with multiple positions, not just this one. Yeah. So, Bryce, I'll let you take it over with your position of the week.
Yeah, and so if you're new to the podcast or whatnot, me and Lucas are both on the finance and accounting team, so our roles are pretty much going to be related to that. So the one that I have or that I'm working on right now, it's a pretty nice one. It's actually in the Northland, which we don't get a lot of those. It's a finance manager role up there. They're looking for anywhere between like 5 to 10 years of experience, I'd say. They definitely want a leadership, a leadership type of personality, some proven history of being a leader, leading teams and stuff like that. I'd say as far as the role goes, really what they're looking for is about 80% more on the finance side, doing the strategic financial analysis, the planning, the budgeting. And then for this role in particular, there'd be one direct report who's more on the accounting side. So about 20% of it would be more from the supervisory standpoint, overseeing that, checking for accuracy. But if that sounds like a background or a role you might be interested in, I'd be happy to provide some more details. So be sure to hit either me or Lucas up about it.
Awesome. I like Bryce said, they're on the accounting and finance team. I'm on our HR ops and sales team as well. And so the role I have to talk about is an e-commerce manager, also with a company up in the Northland as well. Looking for about 5 years of experience, managing a website, managing company inventory, things like that on the e-commerce side. And then just someone who's constantly curious, someone who can wear multiple hats and just, continue to build their site out for them. So if that sounds like a good opportunity, or someone might be a good fit for that, reach out to us. I'm happy to help out. Well, those are our positions of the week, again, brought to you by Chief of Staff KC. All right, boys. I still haven't come down from the whole Super Bowl high, man. I'm just excited about this year as I was after we won the Super Bowl. Brett Veach just continues to flex on the rest of the execs in the league by signing Pat Mahomes, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, and even himself to a 6-year extension. That's crazy. Oh, yeah, and he all did it with $177 in the bank. Dude, he's got to be a lock for exec of the year, right? Just absolutely
100%,
insane.
100%. I think without a doubt, exec of the year. Before I even for sure. Before I even get there, though, I want to take a step back in time with Chiefs Kingdom here. So, think about, guys, back to 2013. 7 years ago. What was the first decision that was made that structured our second Super Bowl ring ever? We hired Andy Reid, Cheeseburger Andy, Big Red, whatever you want to call him. He's a phenomenal guy. He revitalized the franchise. He helped us end an 8-game playoff losing streak. that has been in
Painful
place
one.
since
Painful one.
1993. 1993, that was the year I was born.
Yeah.
We hadn't won a playoff game. So thank you,
Yeah.
Andy, for that. Thank you, Eagles. We're going to take good care of Andy. I have 3 more pieces that I believe led us to our second Super Bowl ring ever. Drafting Patrick Mahomes in 2017. All right, I'm sure you guys remember that. 10th round.
How could you
him,
forget?
him taking the phone call changed our lives forever. We had no idea how blessed we were with that man. Third, transitioning from old John Dorsey to Brett Veach. $177 cap wizard. I mean, come on. You got to love it. John Dorsey, we thought we had a good GM, cap mismanagement, to now a cap extraordinaire. Brett's a gunslinger. He's a better drafter, better offseason with additions. And so we're really excited to utilize that piece moving forward. And then lastly, old Bob Sutton.
Yeah.
You guys love that guy, right? Bob Sutton.
Oh, man.
He lingered around.
So much headache.
Yeah, he lingered around a little bit too long. I would
Cost
say
us a Super Bowl.
Yeah, cost us a Super Bowl. D Ford, you as well. As far as that goes, though, we kicked him out. We finally said goodbye, Bob Sutton. We love you, but see you later. This is not championship caliber material. Steve Spagnuolo, Andy called him up. I think he texted him actually when Steve was watching our loss to the Patriots because of Bob Sutton's defense. But the relationship with Andy there, Steve came in. He has that aggressive mentality, Super Bowl experience. Those 4 decisions, hiring Andy Reid, Honey Badger, all those deals. So hiring Andy Reid, drafting Pat Mahomes, saying goodbye to John Dorsey and Bob Sutton.
Yeah.
Now we're here. We have an extraordinary offseason. Give us a little bit more of the details of what just occurred, regarding the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, so as far as like the tic-tacs of the extensions, I mean, Pat Mahomes, 10 years, $503 million. Chris Jones, 4 years, $85 million. Travis Kelce, 4 years, $57 million. Andy Reid, both 6-year extension. And Sammy Watkins took a little bit less to stay on the team.
Great.
That's big.
18 to 22 starters coming back. And I think part of it, and part of the Chiefs' greatness is the culture that they built.
Of course.
A lot of those guys are on team-friendly deals. I mean, I think Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, and Travis Kelce aren't even the top earners on the team, which that might blow your mind. I think it's Frank Clark, actually.
Yeah.
And so just people wanting to be there, wanting to play on a championship, on a championship type of team and win a ton. I mean, I think it just kind of goes to the culture they built, like I said earlier, and also just long-term guys buying in. I mean, it's awesome to see. So.
Yeah, and again, I do think it comes down to that culture, that championship swagger, as Honey Badger likes to call it. Everyone's bought into something bigger than themselves. They recognize their role on the team. Sammy Watkins could have gone somewhere else and gotten paid, honestly, seriously paid.
Lizard man.
But he knew that he has a chance to win here. He realized that Kansas City is his home. He had bounced around a lot early on in his career and found a good home here. He gets respected as well. And so I think, this whole team, they all buy into a vision, and people are going to want to come play here, just like the Patriot way. We've got Arrowhead, the Arrowhead way.
Yes,
I'm sure we'll come up with a better name for that eventually. But we have all this talent locked up. I think Chris Jones, out of all those extensions, is the first one to go, and that's in 2023. So we keep the Super Bowl nucleus intact and can really do some damage here moving forward. And people were nervous about Andy Reid. He's obviously getting up there in age. Maybe even some health issues, but he's more energized than ever. He's healthy as ever, and he's ready to go. He's fired up, man. He'll be the first one to tell you that. So we got him until 2025 now, and Mahomes to 2020 or 2031. So I think Pete Carroll's the oldest coach in the league at 68 right now. So we'll have him to 70. So
Belichick is also up
he's
there,
getting up there
and
as well.
Know what he can do. So I mean. Andy's got it.
I mean, once he's got that first taste of victory, how can you let that go?
Yeah.
You've been your whole career just on the precipice of greatness, and then you finally get your first ring. I think he's going to try to run it back and back and back and back.
For sure.
So not only did that championship swagger stay intact, but the rich got richer this year. Brett Veach went out and surprised a lot of people and drafted Clyde the Glide Hilaire with the 32nd pick. Not only did we pick a running back with our first pick, but we also had our pick of the litter with all the running backs available between J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift, and Jonathan Taylor. We went with the guy that fit our system the best, and well kind of get into that.
And if you recall, I think they even asked Pat, Pat, who do you want? And he was like, Clyde.
Yeah, of course.
Without hesitation.
Just an absolutely insane weapon to add to an already just historic offense. Like,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
absolutely.
And so not only that, but Brett Veach followed it up in round 2 with, I think, the pick of the draft. I honestly think this guy's really going to have the biggest impact from day one. I mean, obviously with Clyde, but on this defense, shoring up that middle. Reggie Ragland's gone. We got a hole. I think Willie Gay Jr. is really going to make a difference. He's, in my opinion, the most athletic linebacker in the draft. Sorry, Isaiah Simmons, but I said it. Like,
Sure.
He should have been a first-round draft pick. He got in a little scuffle there, knocked out his quarterback for the
got a mean right
Music
hook,
City Bowl.
yeah.
But hey, thank you. He fell to us, and I'm really excited about Willie Gay Jr. Who's some of the other folks you guys are excited about this year?
Well, I think Willie Gay Jr. is going to have one of the most immediate impacts, right? I mean, besides Clyde, obviously. But if you look at all of our other picks, Willie Gay and then Bo Peep Keys, right? Is that kind of his nickname? Because so he's going to have to step up with Rashad Breeland being out. He's going to have to make some plays, and early on, coming in with a leader like Tyrann Mathieu, he's going to be able to do that. We have those developmental prospects, which I think you have a few notes on, but Lucas Nang, L'Jarius Sneed, Mike Dana, they're not going to make an immediate impact. They're going to be developmental. They're going to take a few years, get some things under their belt. But, I am excited to see our first two make that immediate impact, see a young guy step up. What about yourself?
Yeah, so I think they addressed the needs in the draft that they had. So running back, first and foremost, I mean, we had a good dude, and we got better.
Yeah.
Especially for our scheme, someone who can come out of the backfield, catch passes. I mean, really expecting a big year, immediate impact by him. Willie Gay obviously had some issues in college,
Just
but
couple.
The Chiefs kind of have a knack for turning those guys around and getting them on the straight and narrow. So I think as long as he can pick up the scheme and he's studying the playbook and stuff like that, I think he should have an immediate impact as well. We got some depth on O-line as well, which was nice, and then also a couple DBs, which those guys are almost guaranteed at least some playing time with the historic, knock on wood, injury bug that happens in our backfield. So hopefully, I mean, I think they drafted well. If you look at kind of the division as a whole, everyone kind of tried to follow Kansas City's model, and so it'll be interesting to kind of see the way that the NFL goes as a whole and how the Chiefs can, kind of address that. So.
I'm interested to see if Veach pulled a Dayton Moore here with Taco Charlton and brought him up, like a change of scenery, and obviously Frank Clark with him too, taking him under his wing. Those are both Michigan boys.
Yes.
They both know each other, so hopefully, if we can have found a diamond in the rough there as well. But obviously those DBs are going to be thrust into the spotlight early on due to suspension with Rashad Breeland, which, by the way, oh my gosh, that's the most savage response to a suspension I've ever seen in my entire life. So he posts his heartfelt message on Instagram. He's talking about how he accepts owning up to his mistakes and accepting responsibility, all of that. But then he drops a damn rap music video, which honestly, if you watch it, it's not too bad. But dude is clearly riding a little bit too high on the Super Bowl fusion. You know what I mean? But, that was hilarious. But yeah, and then with Damian Williams, obviously we had a great running back. It should have been Super Bowl MVP in my mind. Obviously they're going to give it to Pat, but
100%.
And I'm not going to complain about that. But he showed out, and he's like one of the best. He has like all-time Chiefs record for I think touchdowns in the playoffs, and so missing him, would have been a huge impact had we not taken Clyde. And I don't know if they talked about that beforehand or anything, but again, that's Brett Veach being a genius and just always preparing. But we'll get back into the COVID stuff towards the end. But now that we've got the whole team locked up and we're ready to run it back, let's get into some predictions for the year.
Sure.
When your team's motto is run it back, they're riding high, they're confident going into the year, as they should be, obviously. But it's also not going to be a walk in the park. As the Super Bowl champions, you're going to get everyone's best shot every week. So there's no coasting games. You could be playing the Raiders, you could be playing the Jets, and whatever it is, you're going to get their best shot every time. So let's take a look at the schedule this year. What are some games you guys are excited about, and what are your predictions for the year?
Sure. Chiefs versus Ravens, right?
Yeah.
I believe it's at the Ravens.
Yep.
It's the rematch NFL fans, I feel like, want to see. You have your two Madden cover athletes over the last 2 years. There's some controversy there a little bit. Some fan bases a little upset more than others, and we didn't see each other in the historic playoff run. So that's kind of in the back of their mind. We didn't get a shot to knock them off.
Lamar's got to prove himself.
100%, exactly. So we've had the unique shootout, mentality almost every time with them.
Yeah.
If you guys remember, one of my favorite plays of all time, Tyreek hobbling on one leg, catching that pass in the fourth quarter.
Down,
fourth down is just insane. So, there's a lot of memories associated with the Chiefs versus Raven matchup.
Sure.
I think it's week 3.
Yeah.
It could be. Okay, awesome. So, that's one I'm really looking forward to.
Week 4, I think, maybe, because I think we do Texans, Chargers, Patriots, then Ravens,
Okay.
I think.
I might be switched. Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Either way, I know these two are back to back. The next one I have is Chiefs versus Patriots.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm sorry, Patriots fans. Actually, no, I'm not. I highly dislike
Screw them. Okay.
all of the Patriots fans. They're the worst fan base in the entire NFL. And underneath every tweet of any positive Super Bowl, ring video extension is them posting pictures of like the San Fran loss. Like, get over yourself.
Yeah.
Y'all
What
on
are
a
you doing?
20-year dynasty. Get the hell out of here. It's time for someone else
You had
to
your
take
time.
over.
You had your time. So I'm highly anticipating this matchup. Is it a rivalry anymore? No, but yes, because of the fan base.
I think
right?
it always will be.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. And
As
Cam
long as
Newton.
Belichick's there.
Yeah.
Tom Brady out, Cam Newton in. It's not going to matter. We're going to crush them. We're going to go out there and dominate per usual. It'll be fun to not only prove the Patriots fans wrong, but Bill Belichick. Good job, Bill, but your run's done. Time is up. So I'm excited for Ravens, Patriots. What about you, Bryce?
Yeah, so I mean, the NFL matchmakers, they did it on purpose. They put Tampa on the schedule. They wanted to see Mahomes and Brady go head to head. I think Tampa got a lot better. It's going to be late in the season. I think week 12.
Yeah, you think this is a potential Super Bowl preview?
People are saying
It's going to be in Tampa, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gronk won't be around by this time. He'll already be broken and banged up, so no big deal about that.
But yeah, I mean, Tampa was a good team with a quarterback who struggled turning the ball over. I don't think Tom Brady's going to, be as good as he was in the past, but I think he addressed that need for them, and they got better, too, as far as their skill positions.
Yeah.
I think.
They just signed Leonard Fournette, too.
Yeah, exactly. That was yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah. I think as far as like stars, they had 23 combined Pro Bowls from 3 of their offensive players. And so, I mean, it's going to be a shootout for sure. And then the next one is the New Orleans Saints. I think week 15, so a couple weeks after that. Probably have some pretty big implications to that game, just depending upon how things wrap up. It's at New Orleans, which, given everything going on, I don't know how much of a home field advantage it will be. But certainly, playing on the road is always a little bit more difficult. And so good matchups there as well. I think there's a lot of, comparables between the two teams. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how those two turn out. Obviously, I'm going to pick Chiefs in each of them, but yeah, it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, this year with only having one bye week team in the playoffs, all those late season games are going to be super important. So that Saints game is going to be a test. Because they'll be playing with just as much energy because they'll be fighting for the number 1 seed as well. Sure. On my end, I'm really excited to play the Broncos this year. I think they got a really good young core. I think Drew Lock's going to improve this year. I'm not
He's a stud.
Yeah, I mean, drafting Jerry Jeudy to add to an already lethal Cortland Sutton. And I think Noah Fant's going to take that next step and be a tremendous tight end in this league. But Jerry Jeudy, bringing that speed to kind of match the Tyreek Hill.
They're trying to emulate us.
Yeah,
exactly.
of course. And then they bring in Melvin Gordon on top of Phillip Lindsay. So, they got a really good young nucleus there. I don't know if this year they'll take that step to 8 wins or not. They might be around the 6 to 8. But, they could surprise people if Drew Lock plays well. Again, he was, I think, 3-1 with his only loss to the Chiefs during his 4 starts last year. So, if the hype's there, those will be some good matchups. And I think we're coming off, the first time we play them, we're coming off the Bills game on a short schedule. So, those would be some good matchups. But then, the other AFC West opponents, I don't really know. You got Tyrod Taylor starting for the Chargers. You never really know what you're going to get with him. He'll have an up day, he'll have several down days. So, and then the Raiders, the Raiders. You never know with them. Derek Carr. I mean, that guy's been off and on his whole career. But, we'll see if Josh Jacobs is a superstar in the making. So we'll see what they do this year. But predictions. What do you guys got win-loss records?
I want to say, you know what I want to say.
Yeah, of course.
Undefeated. We're going to run through the entire league. The realistic side of me wants to come in and just kind of go with an even keel, 12-4. I think that's pretty just neutral, right in the middle, right? We get the 4 losses out of the way. I don't think we're going to lose 4. I think we'll maybe lose 2.
Yeah.
But if we're going to maybe put some money on it or something, I go 12-4.
Gotcha. What about you, Bryce?
I was going to say 12-4, but since you said that, I'll say
Sure.
11-5. I'll say we drop one more.
All right.
Could go either way, though. Obviously, I think we're going to win them all, but has it only been done once ever or twice?
The Patriots went undefeated up until the Super Bowl, but then the Dolphins are the only one to run it all the way through.
So 11-5.
Okay. I'm gonna go 14-2. I'm gonna be on the optimistic side of things. I think last year, we finished 12-4. We almost beat the Packers at home with Matt Moore, so that should have been a victory.
Yes.
And then Mahomes being out, and we dealt with injuries all year. So I think if we can stay healthy, we got a difficult schedule this year. Don't get me wrong, but I think if we can stay healthy, we get a chance to do some damage. And again, with only one team getting a bye week this year, they're not going to let their foot off the gas pedal. They have to get that number 1 seed. Andy Reid off a bye week. That's almost a guaranteed win.
Love to see it.
I think we're gonna shoot for it. Outside of that, let's look at some of the other lines for the year. Mahomes is favored to win the MVP at plus 450, and then the Chiefs are also favorites to repeat as Super Bowl champions at plus 600, plus 650, depending on what you're looking at. Not really too much to discuss there. I mean, who would bet against either of those, to be honest? There's obviously value elsewhere, but I think those are locks in my opinion. No bias there at all. Give me some of your other player prop bets for the year. What are you guys thinking? What do you guys like this year?
Sure. One that a lot of people like to bet on, Rookie of the Year, right? So you got about 5 key players that could make a run for it, 2 that really are leading the pack. Joe Burrow, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
And then his old teammate, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So Clyde actually jumped up from, I want to say plus 463 to plus 365 when Williams opted out, for obvious reasons. So that brought him probably the closest he will ever get to Joe Burrow. A few others, Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers.
Tua.
Dark horse.
Yeah.
Dark horse Tua, if he gets some playing time.
We'll see.
Make sure he gets back
Fitzmagic.
to 100%.
We're still rooting for Fitzmagic.
We
no
love
matter
you.
what.
We love you, Fitz. We love you. We always will as Chiefs Kingdom. Thank you for that. But so those are going to be the 5. I say if you want to put your money where your mouth is, you just stick it out with Joe Burrow for the sake of it typically going to a quarterback right?
Yeah.
Now, biased opinion, Clyde. But
yeah,
that's going to be a good one. Rookie of the Year, Joe Burrow, Clyde Edwards, take your pick. But that's going to be my prop bet that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, and so the one that I'm pretty excited about and bringing it back to Clyde again. So plus or minus 800, excuse me, on the rushing yards for the season. So I'm actually going to take the under. Believe it or not, I think he's going to be a lot more of a threat. Passing wise, I think that's the scheme. I think that's why they drafted him, is because they want to use him like that. I mean, if you have Mahomes throwing 50 times a game, you're not going to have too many running plays.
Right.
It's probably just not going to happen.
Right.
I think he's going to be a great player, probably a lock for Rookie of the Year.
Sure.
But I think it's going to be through the receiving end of it and not necessarily the rushing yards.
I saw a little video of Pat practicing
The
backwards
behind the back,
pass as he's dropping back to Clyde out of the backfield swinging.
Yeah.
So
put it in the playbook.
Yeah, exactly. I could see that, man. So great.
I'm actually looking up right now what Damian Williams finished with last year rushing wise. I think it was around 700 something. 711 yards. That was total yards. I don't know. Anyways, so I think so the thing about Clyde that a lot of people don't realize is that the Chiefs run more shotgun snaps than anyone in the league, right? And if you look at our stats from last year with Damian Williams, he averaged, I think, like 2-point-something yards in between the tackles when they ran the ball. And we run the ball between the tackles from shotgun at a higher rate than anyone in the league. But if you look at Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he led the FBS in yards per attempt through the tackles from the shotgun formation at like 4-point-something. So, like, you know, I disagree with you there, Bryce. I think he's going to go over. And I think we're going to have a lot of leads at the end of the games where he's going to have to, you know, run the ball.
Sure.
And, you know, the thing about him is that Damian Williams never, other than the, you know, the 80-something yard run and the 90-something yard run he had last year, he only averaged like 2 or 3 yards a carry, but he could never really break off those long runs other than the Super Bowl. But, you know, I think that's what Clyde brings to this team on the rushing attack is, you know, he's smaller, lower to the ground, that kind of Brian Westbrook-esque running back. But, you know, I think we're going to see, you know, a way more efficient running from him this year. So I'm excited for that. My prop bet that I want to look at was Pat Mahomes, 35.5 touchdown passes. I'm gonna hammer that over. I think you can bet the mortgage on that one.
Yep.
So last year, what did he finish with? I think 36.
36.
Yeah. And he was out 2 games. So like, I don't know where this line comes in. And you're adding Clyde as a passing attack on this team, like, and you're retaining Sammy Watkins. Like, I don't know how he doesn't throw it. You know, God forbid injury-wise, but like throw 40 touchdowns easily.
Yeah.
You know, he came out of the gate and threw 50. I don't know if he'll ever get to that production just because of, you know, amount of tape that everyone has on him now and like scheming around him specifically. But man, I don't see how he doesn't get 40 here.
Yeah.
Let's go for Manning's record. Right? Come on. Let's go all out.
Hey, greatest show on turf, round 2. Well, we would be remiss if we didn't touch on the global pandemic going on at the moment and how that's kind of affected all of us over the last 6 months, but it's going to completely change the landscape of the fall. You know, no preseason games. There's really no hype going into the year. It's like I feel real ready for this. You know, this podcast is probably the only reason I'm ready for the year.
No preseason was weird, right?
Yeah.
It's a little different.
But then also letting fans in at a limited capacity. You know, there's not going to be any of those 8 a.m. tailgates.
Yeah.
You drink till you got a beer jacket on when it's freezing cold, screaming till you can't talk anymore, fuzzy Monday morning home games anymore. I mean, I might still have a couple of those in my backyard, but
See you soon.
But I mean, like that's the Arrowhead experience right there. That's what fall's all about in Kansas City. I've never seen any other city embrace a football team a season like this. So it's really going to be different this year. So not only with the fans, but also with the team itself. You know, all the measures they have to go through. They've done a really good job of limiting the risk, the exposure.
Sure.
But once these teams start traveling, who knows what's going to happen? They got to be careful. And then we also lost 2 starters to COVID as well. We had 20 of 22. Now we're down to 18 with LDT and Damian Williams opting out. Obviously, have to respect that decision.
Yeah.
They're both incredible reasons. You know, with LDT fighting on the front lines in Canada with the COVID epidemic, and then Damian Williams, his mother with stage 4 cancer. You know, he can get football back. He can't get his mother back, is what he said. So obviously have to respect that. But what do you guys think this season's going to look like? It's going to be one like we've never seen before.
Yeah. You know, one thing that is coming about of this, as you stated earlier, guys, is the no fans, right? And so I thought this was hilarious. Roger, our commissioner, Roger, recently stated that there is absolutely no competitive advantage to having no fans present. Hold on. No competitive advantage to having no fans present. He sat down with his competition committee like we are right now, and that's what they came up with. Why are you denying it?
Yeah.
Why are you denying it? Come on. So, for example, all of our playoff comeback games, right? We utilized momentum. We utilized that crowd. I get it. It's only 22%. But those players thrive. They fuel off of that. So Texas down 24-0. Boom, we make one big play. Crowd's behind us. We run it. I mean, Titans down 10. Okay, we make a play. We run it with the crowd. Come back. Arrowhead advantage, no matter what, will make an impact. So COVID is going to, unfortunately, it's a bad thing, but it's going to benefit us with the 22% of fans, no matter what. No matter what. Second, I believe Mahomes playing in silent stadiums. You know, the guy just came out recently and stated that he's just learning to read defenses. What? You were just playing backyard football before, and now you're learning to read defenses, and you're going to allow this man to have a silent stadium to come up to the line, look around and make audibles on the fly. I mean, those are two huge impacts that COVID is going to have on this season, and specifically for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm really excited for this season, see how it turns out, and those are going to benefit us in a huge way.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, what are your thoughts on COVID impact this season?
Fans are definitely going to have to get creative and do things a little bit differently. I think we're all in a networking group together. And next Wednesday, I believe, right?
Yep.
We have a tailgate in a parking lot.
Yeah, shout out Luke KC.
Yeah, the Luke KC. And so, I mean, everyone's going to have to get creative. I honestly, you never know what it's going to look like. I think week 1's going to look a lot different than week 16.
Yeah.
I think it's constantly changing and evolving, and really you can't predict what it's going to look like. I mean, yeah, it's gonna. And you look at other sports too. I mean, how much they've evolved. Even like the UFC, things have changed drastically for them. And so I think as the season progresses and you kind of figure it out and stuff like that, it's really going to change things. And it's interesting to see some teams have fans and some teams not. I mean, I played football myself in college, and just knowing how much of an impact the crowd can have. It's huge, especially for a team that doesn't get off to a hot start always. A lot of that can be attributed to the atmosphere. And so without, playing out those away games that are already tough, like I said earlier, having no crowd there when you're used to a little bit of a crowd, I mean, it's going to cause some differences, and those players are going to have to get motivated themselves and not rely on the crowd. So, I definitely think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, I was listening to an interview with Mark Donovan the other day, and he was talking about, the Chiefs being one of the 6 teams that are actually going to start with fans week 1.
Yep.
They're kind of like the guinea pig for the league. They have to get this right. If other teams want, to bring their fans in, but also if we want to bring more of Arrowhead to the table. So they've got to get this going. They've had a couple dry test runs with the season ticket holders for a Saturday practice and whatnot. And I've heard on the fan threads on Reddit that ran pretty smoothly and they did a good job with that. So hopefully we continue to take all the safety measures into account. If you're going to the games, any fans listening, make sure you wear your mask. Take those necessary precautions. I don't know how you're going to police everyone wearing masks when they're all drunk and screaming, but. Hopefully everyone takes it seriously and we have a good experience with it. So outside of that, we got the Texans coming in week 1. Deshaun Watson is probably the most pissed off he can be. Not only losing a 24-0 lead in the very place, but then also having to sit there and watch the Chiefs raise their banner. Obviously they're going to come in and give us their best shot. They're chomping at the bit to get some revenge. But how's Bill O'Brien going to mess this one up for him?
So keys to victory for the Chiefs here is put the pedal to the metal, score early, score often. I know as cliche as that sounds, but I mean, it's true. Let's make Bill O'Brien. Make them play catch up with no Hopkins, So they're not going to have the receiving core that they, are used to having. Deshaun Watson playing from behind, I'm comfortable with, our defense. I really am. It's a phenomenal, too smart defense with Tyron. So I'm really excited to make them play from behind, excited to watch the Legion of Zoom take off. That's exciting. So as long as we continue that aggression up front and early, it's going to be a blowout. I think it'll be very close for maybe the first quarter, second quarter, and then we're going to take off.
What's your score prediction?
And my score prediction is going to be 38-21 Chiefs.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. I like it. Yeah. What about you, Bryce?
And so I'll start with the prediction, then kind of explain why. So I think it's going to be 38-28. I think it's going to be a fairly high-scoring game. Coming off no preseason, I mean, usually just coming from experience, offense usually gels a lot easier. Usually week 1, they're able to fire at all cylinders, whereas defense, you're picking up the scheme. It's going to take a little bit longer for you to figure it out and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be fairly high-scoring. I think it's going to be an exciting game. Obviously, I think the Chiefs are going to come away with the victory. But I mean, just coming off no preseason and no live practice or real engagements, I think the defense might struggle on both sides. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's going to be, with no preseason, they're going to have to ramp up real quick. But all I've heard from, new additions to this team, and even some players who have been here for now their second year, is talking about how much Andy Reid really takes those practice reps seriously and making it a game situation. So not only do we have an advantage with just an absolutely Hall of Fame head coach, but we also have this team coming back. We're returning almost all of our starters, and not too many new key pieces are like a pivotal point other than Clyde. So I think we get out to a good start. I think we've got a huge advantage moving forward over the rest of the league. Even though the Bucs are stacked, they're bringing in a new quarterback, bringing in a new tight end, bringing in a new running back. So I think we're going to come out of the gates really well this season. So my prediction for the game itself is 41-24. I think we'll take it to them. And have a good showing. But I'm excited to have some football back, boys. I am super, super pumped about this.
That offseason went so fast.
I know, it's crazy. Well, when you have a global pandemic keeping you home every day, this is all we're looking forward to. So I'm just glad we actually have football. Obviously college football, not so much. They're still figuring that out, but I'm glad the NFL, starting on time. We're ready to get after it, boys. But thanks for tuning in to our first episode. If you see this on Spotify or Apple, follow us along. We're going to be putting out again an episode every week with a preview of the week before, or a recap of the week before, and a preview of the week to come. But then we're also going to have some of Kansas City's top execs and personalities with us as well. We got an awesome guest coming up. Week 2.
Tune in.
Yeah, it'll be really fun. So not gonna announce it yet, but you'll see it coming soon. We're gonna have a lot of really good Chiefs coverage there. So, all right. Well, I appreciate it, boys. Thanks for your time. Thanks for listening. And as always, go
Chiefs.